If you're a patriot, you'd be in absolute delight. If you're a predictor like some of us in the Cricbuzz Live studios, an unmitigated disaster. But I'm with Joy Bhattacharjya and Zaheer Khan in the studios. Joy, you wouldn't mind getting it completely wrong from an Indian point of view. And we were way off the mark.
No, absolutely. And this is like, there's this famous book called The Tale of Two Cities. So this is a tale of two players. Basically, Jos Buttler on one side and Kuldeep Yadav on the other. And everyone else, you see, every other stat looks completely out of place. It looks as if these two were playing a different match and the rest were playing a different match. They completely...
Well, talking about playing different matches, were they actually playing in England? I counted a total of 7 English spectators there.
No, the funniest thing is we are all from...
Well, that was expected, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you expect
like,
a skew towards the Indians. Yes, with England-Colombia going on and all that, but I didn't expect there to be that few. Even when England hit the few boundaries at the start.
The way things went, I think, England needed all the support. I think, Kuldeep Yadav was just unbelievable. And he's someone who brought India back in the game because the wicket is looking fantastic. I think, it's an absolute belter to bat on. And looking at the score, England will be thinking that I think halfway mark, this game is done and dusted. I think, if you don't have or English bowlers don't come up with the kind of performance which Kuldeep had come up with, which was special, I think, and that certainly they don't have. And looking at the batting lineup which Indian team has, I think, this game halfway mark, I'll be very surprised if England pulls this game back from here. So it's just matter of time, I think, because 30-40 runs short. Like you look at about halfway mark. England were in control of the game, and they had the grip on the game. In fact, you are actually looking at maybe England going past that 200 run mark as well, because Chahal was not really being effective on this kind of track. So the track didn't offer that much, and to come up with this kind of performance on such track, I think Kuldeep was really special.
Yeah, the way Jason Roy started, Buttler, of course, always in command. The only person who looked out of sorts in that top order was Alex Hales, but one's allowed to have a bad day. But Chahal going for 16 runs. Till Kuldeep Yadav came on to bowl, it looked as if it was going to be England's day. Absolutely. For all those 7 spectators.
Absolutely. And all those 7 spectators, that's the interesting thing, was both of us from television. And the first thing we do is, if you're in a foreign country, identify some supporters of each team so that if you can cut to somebody cheering this thing.
I think here the 7 spectators, I'm just wondering right now, are you counting the commentators as well?
I'm sure even they had turned sides after a point. The way
maybe with commentators is 11 or 12.
Fair enough. And
I think pantry staff, catering staff, everything.
Groundsman and his family. Although they were probably going in warming up for the England game.
I think they have a telly somewhere in this thing as well. Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, it really was about not just Kuldeep Yadav, but that one over. I mean, he took a fifer, but everything happened in that lucky or unlucky 13th, depending on which way you look at it. Look at that. It's not talking about the internet and when it started. WWW indeed was Kuldeep Yadav today, and it was a magical performance. And really what you have to look at it is there was nothing really in the pitch as such. I mean, we talked about it being a good batting pitch. It was a good surface, and he was just making the ball talk from nothing.
There are no demons in the wicket whatsoever. I think it looked like a beautiful batting wicket. The ball is coming onto the bat nicely. So yeah, I mean, looking at that and the situation and the kind of performance which Kuldeep has come up with, and the kind of dismissals which he had in that over, like someone like Root, who is such a solid player technically. And to get someone out like that, very first ball is creditable. I think that shows that the deceptive nature of Kuldeep's wrong one. And I think what he used to his advantage, particularly today, is the bounce of the wicket. I think the wicket had bounce on offer, and Kuldeep used it beautifully.
Well, we'll show you some numbers for India spinners, but before that, England must be wondering. 2 consecutive T20 internationals. One day it's Chahal taking 6. Next day it's Kuldeep taking 5.
No, also very interestingly, if you look at, one of the things you want to go back a little bit more and look at the selection policy. It's not as if Ashwin and Jadeja were doing really badly or India was losing. To take a call at that time and say, we're going to go with this spin to these young guys and gave them 3-4 matches to establish was a big call. Remember, these guys were a year away from being the best one-day spinners in the world. and suddenly you say you dropped in. So, but look at how this call is giving you results, because for whatever reason that shift of power from finger spinners to wrist spinners is almost complete in the last couple of years.
Yes, call it brave, call it brilliant, but the fact is it's reaped rich dividends. And I think numbers tell the whole story. If you look, since January 2017, we know Afghanistan obviously have got this new magician in their ranks, but look at how far ahead India is of anyone else. Yes, maybe a few more matches that they might have played, but compared to Pakistan, almost the same number of games. That's huge, 64 wickets.
Amazing. I think, wrist spinners have been creating that kind of impact on this format, and an Indian team has got 2 of them, and that number is actually reflecting that, 64, and you look at, I think Pakistan also have played about the same number of games and around 29, and they also have Shahbaz, I think Shadab, right? So that's something which tells the story that we have 2 quality leg spinners, and especially in those middle overs, they are able to create that impact and turning most of the games, I think, and that's something which has been a success mantra of Indian team now over the last couple of years.
Well, let's just keep Joy's theme going for the moment. You talked about tale of 2 individuals. We've mentioned one. We must mention the other, Jos Buttler. He's been absolutely phenomenal.
I was looking to the stats and say, which year do you compare? If you look at modern batsmen, I mean, for me, I'm an old timer. Viv Richards, 76, 1700 test runs. Sachin in 1998, amazing, this thing. Virat in 2016. Jos Buttler is in that kind of form. It's a form that comes maybe once in a lifetime. And look, the great part of it is when they're in that kind of form, it's across formats. I mean, he was getting IPL runs. Then after that, he went and got test runs.
Test runs, yeah.
Then after
almost 1,000 runs in under 20 innings and 16 innings for Jos Buttler. I mean, that's phenomenally scary numbers.
And also it's like at this level, at the highest level, if you have the confidence, if you have runs on board, and if you kind of crack that code of achieving those runs, the success follows, and the consistency you're able to achieve, and that's something which is seen from Buttler. I think he just needed that kind of stability, that kind of confidence, and now I think he just owns that spot. Now he knows that he just has to keep performing, and he can bat at that number. It looks like he's more happy batting at that number, and the confidence really helps.
Zach, have you ever been in a situation like, who's the guy you've seen in your team ever, whether playing for India or for the Royal Challengers of Delhi, who's in that kind of form, where they just form of their lives? Have you ever seen that happen?
I think I've seen it with Virat. I keep saying that when Virat first came onto the scene, no one really rated him to this level what his achievements are at, and I think what he's achieved is just through adapting different kind of techniques, adapting different kind of ways, and he has just kept pushing that bar. So if his graph, if you see, when Sachin came onto the scene, everyone knew that it's Sachin Tendulkar, the next big thing. But with Virat, that wasn't the case. When he made his debut, I think in Sri Lanka, he was a hardworking guy. He had the talent. He was someone who's had success at the under-19 level, and was definitely going to be a good player. But
nobody saw
he's evolved himself, to that level by determination, by hard work, and just sheer drive of pushing the bar always, and that's something which you don't see often in players. He leads by example.
Interesting comparison, because when Sachin, you always knew he was that prodigy. When you almost think back to some time like the 2011 World Cup, which India performed so well. Virat Kohli was in that team, but you didn't notice him.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he was. That's exactly the point, and I was wondering, because see, Sachin to have a breakthrough season you can understand, but Mohammad Yusuf 2006, again a season which is incredible. He's never had his season before or after like that. And I think Jos's form is that kind of form, once in a lifetime. And I don't know, people like Sachin can maintain it over 4 or 5 years. I don't know whether Jos will be able to maintain it, but he must be wondering, how long will this last? Let me not wake up from this dream. I think that's where he is now.
But for now, quick focus on the Indian batting lineup. We mentioned it at the very start of the show about the fact that Virat Kohli is very clearly said about experimentation, especially with that middle order. Now, 2 matches in Ireland, we've had 2 completely different top orders other than Suresh Raina. Do you think we're going to have a third new look today?
Well, one thing is for sure, it's definitely going to be left-hand, right-hand combination, and
These are
most
the two
likely
matches in Ireland.
it's going to be Shikhar Dhawan and Rohit Sharma. I think depending on who gets out, they will probably try to maintain that left and right combination, and you'll probably see KL Rahul and Suresh Raina, waiting to grab that spot. That's the kind of feeling I have. I think that should be the kind of approach. It'll be interesting to see what number MS Dhoni bats at.
My only submission to this is I feel that given the kind of captain Virat is and the fact that he wants to make a statement, he's not going to go at number 6 for sure. That you can expect that, especially if the batsman, if a right-hand batsman goes early, expect Virat to go in very early. Only because, not because he's selfish or wants to bat up the order, but because he probably will want to make a statement very early in this series. That I'm the man.
Well, that's the playing 11. Remember, KL Rahul, perhaps the X factor in this 11 because he opened the batting in the second match in Ireland with Virat Kohli up there. Now you've got Rohit Sharma and Shikhar Dhawan, the expected openers. Suresh Raina batted at 3 in both those games. So very interesting factors to see over there. And as we asked MS Dhoni, where's he going to bat? So not quite the 200 that we expected, but with 160, they'll feel a little more comfortable chasing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, but 160s are the tricky totals because, it's not a total where you can just bat out and say, okay, you're going to win it. You don't go hitting from ball 1. It's a slightly more tactical chase because you have a little bit of room to play around with. But sometimes it plays with your mind as well,
Yeah, who'd have thought a few years ago when T20 cricket started, 8-10 years ago, 160 would have been a good 8 runs and over. That's a good score. You've got runs on the board.
And usually in English conditions, 160 is a good total.
A winning total.
Yeah, but I think looking at today's wicket, that's certainly not going to be the case. It's not an easy wicket to bowl on. I think it's not an easy wicket to contain batsmen. The only way you have a chance of winning this match is by consistently taking wickets and creating that pressure. But because the way wicket was playing, it didn't look like batsman needs more time to settle in. Like the wicket is looking very good T20 wicket. So keeping that in mind, I think England right now has halfway mark. They've got a slim chance of winning this match.
Yeah, you've got maybe some magic from Adil Rashid, Liam Plunkett, Jordan with his slower ones. Who's going to be it? Moeen Ali, maybe Joe Root gets in a couple of overs. Who is going to be the X factor for England? Well, that we cannot answer. What we can answer is a reprise of our own very special factor on Cricbuzz Live, the joy factor, one more time.
Okay, and I have to say, since it's early in the innings, I managed to get this one not wrong as well, but I think I've given a little bit of the fact this has to be little altered. This streak of T20 international wins, there were 11 matches they won. Which team started winning 11 matches in a row from Nagpur in 2016, and in which city did they win their 11th match?
And but I reckon, knowing some of our viewers that we have on Cricbuzz Live, some would have picked it up, given the right answer, and
told me when I was wrong. Also, 2 people wrote to me about red tables and all that, so I quickly put it on to Gaurav. I said, no, Gaurav Kapoor ke paas hai sab kuch.
Yes. If they're from England, Gaurav is in England.
Yeah, he's going to deliver it personally.
Absolutely. Excess baggage, you leave that to him, he's taken it. This one's another one, it's here with us. So if you really want to pick that up, you can give us reasons, try and find a reason why, not just the right answer, but why you should have that as well. Maybe we'll get a different theme going for this particular show. But for the moment, 160 is the target. Do we even look at predictions? Is there a possibility for England? 5 for Adil Rashid to match Kuldeep Yadav? Or am I just talking through my hat?
Well, someone has to come up with a really good performance. And like I said, the only way England can win this match is by taking wickets. To contain a team at 160 on this kind of track is going to be very difficult. India, looking at the consistency of Rohit and Shikhar and the kind of starts they've been giving, if India gets that kind of start, I think it's going to be very difficult for England to defend this total.
Final thought, Joy?
Yeah, say ditto. I feel that if England was to take wickets, it's going to be their fast men. I really don't see Moeen Ali and Adil Rashid disturbing in India as much as our spinners disturb theirs. But their fast men are good, and if they take a couple of early wickets, maybe.
Well, if it's not going to be Kuldeep Yadav, the real question is, can England's only saving grace be a country called Colombia? We'll see you after the game.